In Iraq. Welcome back, Congressman. So this idea, we've been kind of talking about it throughout the show, that the president has a decision to make and options on the table with Iran. What about the political support here at home? That 53% of Republicans is kind of high. You know, there's some, even MAGA Republicans who are certainly resistant to wanting to get involved overseas. What would you say?
Well, I think a lot of us, including myself and a lot of conservatives, obviously don't want boots on the ground in Iran, don't think that we should be on, kinetic type of activities at all. And I think the president has done a really good job of just sitting back and letting the Israelis do what they're doing and not getting kinetically involved at all. Look, the president has tried multiple times for peace. He gave them 60 days to come to the table and to have an agreement ever since he's been president. He's been trying to send his people like Witkoff and others to the Iranians to try to strike some type of deal, and the Iranians just backed off. And I think after that 60 days that the president gave them, there was tons of open source reporting that the president was the reason why Netanyahu didn't attack 60 days ago, and they gave them that time to try to negotiate, and the Iranians said, we don't want to have any part of this because they want to have a nuclear weapon. It has been U.S. policy for years, regardless of the administration, to not allow Iran, the largest state sponsor of terror in the world, to get their hands on a nuclear weapon. You heard the president yesterday say that he thought they were close. You heard Netanyahu say they believe that they were days away. So obviously the threat to the Israelis is what caused Netanyahu to make those decisions. I trust President Trump 100%. He puts America first. We have a lot of different bases in the region, and I can tell you this, and Hegseth and the president have been very clear, if the Iranians attack our service members, we're going to defend ourselves. Right. So hopefully the Iranians aren't silly enough to make that stupid of a decision, but I think that's kind of where we are right now.
The other part of the conversation, we've talked about it a lot of the shows, whether you go in with these bunker buster bombs and try to take out this Iranian nuclear site that's buried inside a mountain, Fordow. But what about going after the supreme leader, okay? I want to put up that tweet from Lindsey Graham. I referred to it a moment ago, but put it back, if we can put it up on the screen this time. Advice for the Ayatollah, he tweeted out. In Trump world, for now is ever changing, because the president said they know where the Ayatollah is, but not going to kill him for now. That's what the president said. And Graham says, I support President Trump's call for unconditional surrender. The sooner the war's over, the better for everyone. What about targeting the supreme leader in Iran, Congressman?
Well, open source reporting was saying that the Israelis were going to do that, and the president said no, that not to take them out. They still wanted to negotiate. We want peace in the region. And so the Israelis didn't do that. That doesn't mean that they can't when they want to. So obviously that can change, but the Israelis wanted to do that. President Trump put the brakes on that. So they took out all of the different military leaders in their chain of command. So their military doesn't have a lot of leadership right now, which is obviously what the Israelis wanted to do. So I think, look, I support the president. The American people do not support boots on the ground in Iran. We don't want to be involved in a conflict like that, and I don't think the president has any intention to do that.
So you think when we talked about like 53% of Republicans being against, their people, when they hear a question like that, associate that with troops, like boots on the ground, is your point, whereas you think there's more support for airstrikes if the president decides to do so, even these B-2 stealth bombers and the potential for the bunker buster bombs, there would be more support for that, you think?
If President Trump feels that our service members either are going to be attacked or are being threatened, then absolutely we should use the defensive measures of our country to protect our service members in the region. I mean, think of the Middle East. We have bases all over the place with our allies and Kuwait and all these different countries in the region that the Iranians, through service members in the region. I mean, think of the Middle East. We have bases all over the place with our allies and Kuwait and all these different countries in the region that the Iranians, through their ballistic missiles, have the ability to take on, and they have been warned not to do that. So if the president obviously has way more intelligence and day-to-day and time, information that we don't have the luxury of having on a timely basis, if he feels the need to strike to prevent catastrophic attacks on our bases, then he has the full authority as president to do that.
Congressman Greg Steube, thank you, sir. I appreciate